A big box has arrived. Oh my goodness. Watch out for battery explosions, apparently. Alrighty then, the unboxing of the Switch 2, something I've been pretty much excited for since it was announced. I really like the Switch 1. I think it's quite a competent little machine, a little bit underpowered and obviously full of a few flaws, but hopefully this one can, sort of make up for it. Let's open this up then and see what's exactly inside.
Oh, bollocks, it's upside down.
Yeah, now it's the right way up because I'm an absolute potato. Let's look at what this is. It says I've got to charge it or something. So, of course, we got the tablet, which is apparently a 7.2-inch screen this time around, which is bigger. But Joy-Cons are also magnetic. They've got more tactile sort of clicky buttons, I noticed. A lot nicer to hold. They've also got a release switch on the back there for the magnet, so you can take it off the side a little bit easier. Instead of sliding it down, they just clip on magnetically. They're a little bit thicker than the Switch 1, if I'm to be honest. They seem a little bit heavier as well. They're still made of plastic, but they feel a little bit more rigid. We've also got this then. Apparently this has a screen protector already installed that they tell you not to uninstall, so I'm not going to do that. And we got this really large kickstand on the back. USB-C at the bottom, as well as USB-C at the top, so you can charge in either mode and actually, use external USB stuff. There's the magnetic stuff. It's very kind of satisfying to click these in. It almost feels like we're, snapping somebody's finger or something. It's a nice tactile snap noise. So yeah, this is a really cool kickstand. The original Switch had a tiny little thing, which I think they fixed for the OLED version, which I didn't end up buying. This one's a little bit more sturdy, well, it's bigger. And it actually, is a little bit of give. And if you press hard enough, we can get this to lay really, really flat, actually. It's surprising how flat. Underneath here as well is where you put in your micro SD card, of which I got one of these, because apparently, for some reason, the first edition ones for the Switch 1 wouldn't work. I don't know. It's probably marketing, but it just fits in there. And we slide that back. But yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see the boot up then, which has this nice now funky music, which is definitely something. Yeah, whack that volume up. So yeah, this is the boring bit where you have to fill in all your details. And I actually did something ahead of the Switch 2's launch. On the Switch 1, they added in the update the ability to upload all of your save data, pictures and games to the cloud. And then it gives you an expiry date, and as long as you install those before that expiry date, you can install them on your Switch 2. It essentially puts the Switch 1 back into factory settings as well, which I thought was quite useful, since I can just put that in storage, and if I want to use that again or give that away to somebody, one of my family members, I totally can do. And yeah, that's what you'll see in a moment. They go through this lengthy process of you learning how to use a Joy-Con, ungripping these things, which is, they're quite sturdy. They're shaking my camera wildly here. As you can see, they're quite magnetic. It takes a bit to actually pull them off, and if you didn't pull the actual release switch, I'm not sure you would actually get them out. Well, you'd probably break them in the process, but I don't see how you would force them out unless you're an absolute potato and pull too hard somehow. I don't know. I don't even think kids would be able to do it. So with the updates complete, then we then have the system transfer, which is what I was talking about, where I set that up. So I'm going to set that immediately up and sign in. And once I've signed in, it will then download all of my bits and pieces. Now, this is not something you have to do. You could just skip through this. Although I have heard that that is a one-time thing. So if you want to do the system transfer, supposedly you have to reset it again. So I'm not going to mess with that. Inside the rest of the box then, we've got a HDMI cable, which is apparently an ultra certified high-speed cable. Not sure what speed that is. And we've got these as well. These are the mouse grips, so you can turn Joy-Cons into mice. That's the gimmick this time around. Don't know if I'm ever going to use a mouse mode. Underneath this, we've got the grip. This is not a charging grip. That's something sold separately. You just get this grip. You know, it's a bit of plastic. The Switch 1 had one as well. This time, it's got magnetic bits. You stick them in on those little pens, and it acts as a controller if you wanted. to not buy a controller. It's a USB-C to power adapter this time, your AC adapter, and a USB-C cable. I mean, we've seen those hundreds of times before. The dock is a little bit more than just a lump of plastic this time. It's a lump of plastic with a fan inside of it to keep it cool. It also has two USB A's or B's on the side there, as well as a panel you can remove where your HDMI stuff goes in. I have noticed a few design changes from the Switch 1's dock and this one, you know, aside from the fact it's, you know, a lot better, a lot heavier, and has a fan in it. Let's have a quick look under here. Then we've got the LAN port, so we can hook up that high-speed internet, hopefully, and then we've also got these. This is the biggest thing. So we've got this almost like a rubberized pad. So the Switch 1, a lot of people were selling these like Switch socks. I don't know if you saw those at launch. You could get socks that people had made to put on there to stop it scraping away your screen. But it seems Nintendo have put something there to prevent that now, a little bit of rubber. We'll see how that works. So this is what the games look like once we're waiting for the update. This is Mario Kart World. That's the one I managed to purchase. I didn't manage to get the bundle, but I thought, well, we might as well get this. It does look kind of amazing as a first party game, kind of a proof of concept of what we might expect from Nintendo. Hopefully we get a new Animal Crossing and Smash Brothers, that kind of stuff. That's more my bag, but might as well get a game. I actually bought a couple of games.
There we go, I guess.
We'll get to that. But this is the first startup then. This is what it looks like.
Well, and there we go. Immediately copied my stuff over and it's going to download all of my games. Okay, awesome.
And all my stuff's being downloaded there. Let's just have a quick test then, a very quick one. This is what the eShop looks like. The eShop in the Switch 1 is notoriously crap, as in it doesn't load, and when it does load, it's loading in chunks. This seems a lot better, as you can see. This is the first experience. I don't know if it's going to stay like this, but this is on release day. It doesn't seem to be lagging. It takes a couple of milliseconds to load up. It's a lot quicker, a lot less painful to your brain if you want to. You know, I can't tell you if the filters are actually working or not, but there we go. At least it's faster. This then is my old Switch 1, which is the Pokemon version, and I just thought I'd demonstrate the size comparison as well as the kickstand. A lot of people are doing this, but I thought that was a really cool option, and just to show you how much more you can recline that massive kickstand, and also laid on its back and then on its front. It really is a lot bigger. It doesn't probably do it justice in a video like this, but it really is a lot bigger. It's not that much heavier though, like as an actual machine, just maybe a couple of kilograms. I don't know, a couple of grams. I can't really tell. It looks kind of generic in its, you know, in its dock. You can't really see the Switch 2 logo apart from at certain angles. They've decided to go for a very weird sort of matte logo. It would have been cool if they'd done like a big red 2 on the front of the black or something, or a gold, but yeah, black on black, you can't really see it even in decent lighting. And this thing is a dust magnet, as you've seen. So a little SD, sorry, not the SD, the card slot for the games. That's where you put your games in, as usual. And it pops up, and we've got this new game card feature, which, yeah. So this is Mario Kart World with a horrible reflection from my lighting, because apparently I didn't factor in the fact that this surface is shiny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know what the solution is to filming a shiny surface, but it is what it is. Let's actually get the Pro controller out then. So this is what this looks like. It's got a USB-C to USB-A or B cable, and it's a Pro controller. The only difference is this time is it's got paddles on the back, which I think the first one did, and the C button, which apparently is for chat, which I'll never be using. It looks absolutely awful on their trailers. And yeah, it's just a Pro controller. I've never had one before. I've played other people's, and I wanted one for this console. They are very nice, robust, quite well built actually. It might be the definitive way to play a lot of games. Looking forward to Metroid Prime and a few other games. Obviously, you know, something to play with that's kind of comfortable. Also, this case that I bought, I'm not really sure why I bought it. It's kind of crap because it doesn't have a zippy bit for your games, so the games end up falling out. Apart from a few slots. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to use the sort of inner bit for. And of course, you know, if you want to play this thing wherever you are on a sofa, then that's what it's designed for, right? And it looks pretty good in a variety of different conditions.
Oh, hello. I see fire in those eyes.
So obviously one of the other things you can do with these Joy-Cons is you can put these on. These are essentially rubberized platforms, as you can see there. There's a little bit either side, and this snaps on to your Joy-Con like that, nice and simple. And then it's going to protect the bottom and has these pads. Now, I wonder honestly how long these pads are going to last, but that's essentially how you're supposed to play, like that, with mouse mode. And there is obviously two of them, so that Drag X Drive game where you're supposedly pushing a wheelchair around, yeah, we'll have to see how sturdy those things are, but for my interests, I'm probably going to use this, probably never, but if I do use it, let's say they bring a PC game, like a point and click or something, or, you know, a strategy game, this could be quite useful. I can imagine some people using it in Civ. The only restriction, of course, for this gimmick is, of course, it's a mouse, so you need a platform. I don't think we're going to be able to get away with rubbing this on our trousers, you know. I don't know, actually. Maybe that's a test that we do. And, of course, once you're done with mouse mode, you just pull the release switch, and they come off. Nice and simple. Although, you know, doing it with one hand is probably not a good idea.
Whilst I was looking at things, so you might be wondering how expensive some of the upgrades are. It was £8, £7.99p to upgrade basically the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both of them were the same price, if I remember correctly, the upgrade pack, because I already own Breath of the Wild. So this is what it looks like, and quite honestly, it looks amazing. This is in docked mode. We only have this in 1440p, but I believe it's in 120 frames per second. We're on a 120 hertz refresh rate, although the YouTube video will not reflect that and will butcher it. I think it looks absolutely bloody gorgeous. Now, yeah, I really did not play any of Breath of the Wild when it first came out. I've not played Tears of the Kingdom, not had the time or the energy. Quite frankly, when this game originally came out, the frame rate wasn't really something I liked. It put me off massively. It was locked to 30 frames. We are definitely more than that here, and the game looks really good, so I might actually play this. I think that's going to be the case with a lot of games, though. You know, we're still going to have 30 frame locks on a lot of games unless they've got the enhanced or upgraded version of them. But the fact that it'll be more of a steady 30 would be more interesting. But where this really shines is I'm going to enjoy playing this in 60 frames 4K in docked mode with my 4K TV. But yeah, 120 frames per second in 1440p. That's pretty cool, actually, isn't it? It looks pretty good, honestly. It looks fairly stable. Of course, my main interest in the Switch 2 is not necessarily for Zelda, although I do like first-party games from Nintendo, which is one of the reasons, but also RPGs. Of course, you might have seen that Final Fantasy Tactics was announced. I do like the idea of having a portable Final Fantasy Tactics. I never got it on the PlayStation Portable. Sorry, I had to think there. That remake, if you want to call it that. I'm really, really super looking forward to Final Fantasy Tactics, and it is very tempting to pick it up on the Switch 2, quite frankly. As you can see, we're looking at the Zodiac Age here, which doesn't seem to be having many issues. It does have issues on the Switch one. It does have massive frame dips in combat, and I was just thought I'd test it. A couple of bits in the, you know, in the Estesan, smashing a few mobs together. And of course, you know, my main attraction to this sort of console is the fact that we have access to a lot of old games. We have still yet to get the Mana Collection on Steam, for example. I don't believe there's a PC version outside of emulation of Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu and, you know, things like that. So it's really up my alley. That's the reason I have a Switch in general, and a Switch 2. But again, you know, stuff like Mario Kart World is showing you what can be done, at least first party. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other things come out of both Nintendo and other companies. Square Enix has a great possibility of launching more powerful things onto the Switch now, and now that Square Enix and Nintendo work a lot closer together, it could very easily be something we see like Final Fantasy 14 on this console. It is more than capable. Also, Fran wanted me to show you the butt of the cow. So that was her contribution to this video, is twerking cow. Thanks, Fran. I had to do it. She held me hostage until I actually did it. No, she wanted to show off twerking cow. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this hardware basically can do. It is obviously the lower end of things. Like, what is this, a PS4 Pro maybe? I don't know, but it's better than the Switch One, and that's kind of all that it needed to be. Realistically, it just needed to be more of the same, with the same kind of first party stuff, as well as having great third party support from, you know, publishers and developers outside of Nintendo that were able to actually put something that ran at a decent frame rate for the most part on a Nintendo console. I think we're finally there, and it's been a long time coming. You know, the last time we had something like this, I would say probably the GameCube, quite honestly. That was the last time I noticed it being a forerunner. Yeah, this game looks cool. Honestly, I want to play a lot more of Super Mario World. Super Mario Kart World, rather. Mario Kart World. But yeah, very excited to see what comes in the future. And I hope you enjoyed my little unboxing and a bit of footage, honestly, of a few bits and pieces. It runs really smoothly. Now, if this is going to be the same in every game, very much not. You know, I don't expect this in every single game, but it's just another thing to have. I do think that there is a reason still to have a Nintendo console in the home if you can afford it and you want one, because quite honestly, the others are, you know, like the PlayStation and the Xbox. As much as I love them dearly, a lot of the stuff is on PC, you know, or, you know, officially on PC, I should say. So, you know, here we are with Nintendo. That, I don't think that will ever change. So that's, again, enough reason for me to purchase a new Nintendo console. Anyway, I'm going to go and give this a bit of a playtest, see what happens, maybe play some Bravely Default. I'm really looking forward to that HD remaster, which is Switch 2 exclusive, which is pretty hype and interesting. Hopefully that doesn't stay exclusive for long. I don't generally agree with exclusives, but I'm not going to miss out on playing that game. I've been wanting to play it for a very long time, so I might stream that this weekend. Anyway, much love. Enjoy your Switch 2 day if you're getting one, and I'll see you all next time. Let me know if you want to see more Switch 2 related videos. I am more than happy to do so. And fingers crossed that we get more stuff like, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics. It would be really cool if we got a Chrono Trigger remake and Final Fantasy 9. That would be really cool. Anyway, bye-bye.